Number 6. Question is here is describe 3 events A, B, and C which are mutually exclusive but not exhaustive. So in case of 5, we defined 2 events which were mutually exclusive but not exhaustive. Here we are expected to define 3 events that are mutually exclusive but not exhaustive. Okay. So let us define the following events. Let us define the following events. 3 events that are mutually exclusive but not exhaustive. Let us define the event A as getting exactly 1 head. Okay. Let us define the event B as getting exactly 2 heads. And let us define the event C as getting 3 heads. Okay. Now we want to check whether these 3 events are mutually exclusive or exhaustive. Now intuitively, can you tell me whether A and B are mutually exclusive or not? Intuitively, I'm not getting into sex. Can you tell me whether A and B are mutually exclusive events? Can you get exactly 1 head and exactly 2 heads at the same time? Obviously not. If you're getting 1 head, you're not going to get 2 heads. Or if you're getting exactly 2 heads, you're not saying that you're getting 1 head, right? So therefore, you cannot have exactly 1 head and exactly 2 heads at the same time. Therefore, A and B are definitely mutually exclusive, right? What about B and C? Intuitively, can you tell me whether these two are mutually exclusive? Getting exactly 2 heads and getting 3 heads. Is it possible that you can get exactly 2 heads and exactly 3 heads at the same time? You will
No,
not,
sir.
right? So therefore, B and C are also mutually exclusive. What about A and C? Getting exactly 1 head and getting 3 heads. Obviously, again mutually exclusive because you cannot have 1 head, exactly 1 head, and you cannot have exactly 3 heads, right? Again, mutually exclusive. Now, if you combine all the 3 events, can you have all the 3 events occurring? Definitely A and B, B and C, A and C are mutually exclusive. That means they are pairwise mutually exclusive. And what about, can A, B, and C be mutually exclusive? Can all these 3 events occur together? Can you get exactly 1 head and also exactly 2 heads and also exactly 3 heads? Obviously not, right? So therefore, A, B,
No.
and C also mutually exclusive events. So in terms of set, what does it mean? So you can have A is equal to, you have exactly 1 head. So in these 3 outcomes, if you see, you have exactly 1 head. What about exactly 2 heads? And you have PHH. And the event C is exactly 3 heads. So this is a singleton set, right? So you see that A intersection B is a null set. B intersection C is a null set. And A intersection C is also a null set. That means what can you say? Therefore, A, B, and C are pairwise, mutually exclusive. Also, if you see, take the intersection of the 3 events, A, B intersection C is a null set. So hence we say A, B, and C are mutually exclusive events. Okay, so they are pairwise mutually exclusive as well as mutually exclusive. Okay, now, but not exhaustive. Are they exhaustive? Take the union. A, union B, union C. If you take the union of these 3, how many events are there in A? 3. B has 3. C has 1. If you take the union, you're getting only 7 elements, right? So obviously, if you take the union of these three, you're not getting the sample space, because sample space contains how many events? Contains 8 events, right? So therefore, it is obviously not equal to S. So we say hence A, B, and C are not mutually exhaustive events. So therefore, three events which are mutually exclusive but not exhaustive. Okay. Fine. Let us look at number two. Question number two here. The question here is that two dice are rolled, obviously unbiased dice. A is the event that the sum of the numbers shown on the dice is 5. So here, what is the definition of the event A? First of all, two dice are rolled. Let's write the sample space. Sample space will be 1, 1, 1, 2, and so on up till 6, 6, right? All these. This is the sample space. So in the sample space, how many events are there? All these events are mutually exclusive, exhaustive, and equally likely, right? So number of events that are mutually exclusive, exhaustive, and equally likely is equal to 6 square, right? Because if two dice are rolled, how many outcomes? You get 6 square outcomes. 36 outcomes you're getting. Now, A, what is the event A here? A is the event that the sum of the numbers shown is 5. Okay. B is the event that at least one of the dice shows up a 3, right? So what is the event A here? Sum of the numbers on the dice is 5. In how many ways? You can get 1, 4, sum is 5. You can get 4, 1, sum is 5. You can get 2, 3, and you can get 3, 2. Any other? I don't think so. Okay. Just check if there are any other. And how can you get at least one of the dice shows up a 3? There can be many ways in which the first dice can show up a 3 and the second can show up a 1. And next you can have the first dice can show up a 1 and the second can show up a 3. You can have 3, 2. You can have 2, 3. You can have 3, 3. You can have 3, 4. Right? You can have 4, 3. You can have 3, 5. You can have 5, 3. Right? You can have 3, 6. And you can have 6, 3. Any other? Does not seem like there should be any other. Right? So what do you see? You have to check that are these two events mutually exclusive and exhaustive. So first of all, you need to check whether these two are mutually exclusive. How do you check mutually exclusive? Take the intersection. A intersection B is equal to, if you see, what are the common elements between these two? 2, 3 and 3, 2, which is obviously not a null set, isn't it? So therefore, are these two mutually exclusive? Hence, A and B are not mutually exclusive. Question is give reasons also. Here is your reason. These two sets you have written. Say these two, this is your reason. They are not mutually exclusive. What about exhaustive? Are they mutually exhaustive? Take the union. A union B. What is the union of these two sets?
So it is 15.
Yes. But what you want to see is whether it is equal to the sample space or not.
No, sir.
Obviously not. So there are very few elements in this, which is obviously not equal to S. Therefore, we say that A and B are not mutually exhaustive. Hence, A and B are not mutually exhaustive. Okay. So I hope these examples might have cleared your concept of mutually exclusive and exhaustive. Okay. We now move on to the definition with problem from classical definition of probability. Some of these you might find that are very easy to start with, but later on things are going to pick up. Okay. Look at this classical definition of the first problem here. A bag contains 8 red. Let us draw the bag so that we know how many balls are there at a glance. 8 red balls, 6 blue balls, and 3 green balls. And obviously 2 white balls also there. Okay, four colors are there. One ball is chosen at random. What is the probability that the ball drawn is not blue? Okay, now remember, here we are, you can do it directly as you did in class 10, but obviously you're not going to get these type of questions. Why I am giving these type of questions is so that you understand how to define the events and then how to deal with the event, their union, the intersection. Okay, so that is why we will have a little different approach, as you know, we have been promoted to the next level. So that means obviously our solution should also be of the next level. So first of all, one ball is being drawn, right? So number of events that are mutually exclusive, exhaustive, and equally likely. How many? Because you are picking up only one ball, it is the sum of all this, right? Sum of the number of balls. How many balls? 8 plus 6 plus 3 plus 2, right? So this is equal to 19. So 19 balls are there in total because you are picking up one ball. That is why number of events that are mutually exclusive, exhaustive, and equally likely is 90. Okay, now what we will do is we'll define the following events. Let us define the following events. Because we are drawing out one ball, we are going to define the event A as ball drawn is red. The event B as ball drawn is blue. The event C as ball drawn is green. And the event D as ball drawn is white. Now A, B, and C, A, B, C, and D are these 3 events. Okay. Therefore, what is the probability of the event A from the classical definition? What is the probability of getting a red ball? 8 by 19, right? What is the probability of the event B? It is 6 by 19. What is the probability of the event C? 3 by 19. And what is the probability of the event D? It is 2 by 19, right? Look at the first question now. What is the probability that a ball drawn is not blue? Which is the event that the ball drawn is not blue? If B is the event that the ball drawn is blue, therefore B bar is the event that ball drawn is not blue, right? Complementary event, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. Yes, sir. So we agree. So therefore, what should be the required probability? Required probability must be PB bar, right? And we know that the probability of PB bar is 1 minus probability of B, which is equal to 1 minus 6 by 90, right? And which is 13 by 90. This is how we are going to attempt. We are going to define the events first, and whatever questions that are there will be based on whatever events that we are defining. See that the first question was ball drawn is not blue. So that is why I had defined all these 4 events. So that the event that are given in the question are somehow related to the event that I have defined. Okay, look at the next question. Next question is ball drawn is blue or red. Now see, ball drawn is blue. What is the event? B. What is the event? Ball drawn is red. A. Right. So what is the event? Ball drawn is blue or red. A union B. Ball drawn is blue or red. Right. So therefore, what is the probability? Required probability is equal to P A union B or B union A, whatever. A union B is equal to how many blue? How many red balls? You have 8 blue balls and 6 red balls. So 8 plus 6 by 19. So you're getting this as 14 by 19. Right? Okay.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
why did I write A union B? I wrote A union B so that you understand that the event that is given in the question, this event, blue or red, that is given in the question, can be deduced from the event that I have defined. That is why I have written A union B. Now, same problem, when we will later, we can do it a little differently also. That is from the addition theorem of probability. Okay. But we'll see that later. Okay. The same problem can be done with the help of addition theorem. Third event that you see, what is the question here? Neither green nor red. So what is the event that is neither green nor red? Which one is green? This one. And which one is red? This one. So neither green nor red means A union C complement. You agree? A union C, a complement is neither green nor red.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So this is ball drawn is neither green nor red. Or you can also write this as Piyush. What can you write this as? Tell me fast. Ball
Yes,
drawn is
sir.
neither green nor red. Neither green nor red.
Sir,
Neither green means yes. Tell me fast.
sir, neither green. We will write as
Neither green means not green, right?
yes, sir.
And neither red means so
Not
neither
red.
green nor red means C complement intersection A complement. So same event
Yes,
here,
sir.
you can write this as either A union C complement or you can write as C bar intersection A complement, right? Which is also De Morgan's law, right? Isn't it? Okay, fine. We'll work with A union C whole complement. So required probability P A union C whole complement. Neither green nor red. If it is neither green nor red, that means it can be blue or it can be white. How many blue and white? 6 and 2. So 6 plus 2 by 19, right? Which is equal to 8 by 19. Or there's another way of doing. What is the other way? Because we are finding because we have to find A union C complement, we first find A union C. What is the event A union C? The ball drawn is either red or green. Is either red or green. Therefore, what is the probability of A union C? Red or green? In how many ways can you get red or green? How many red balls? 8 and 3. So 8 plus 3 by 19, right? Which is equal to 11 by 19. And what do we have to find? We have to find A union C complement. So what is A union C complement then? Ball drawn is neither red nor green, right? So therefore, what is the required probability? Is equal to P A union C whole complement. And what is the definition of complementary event? Right?
Yes, sir.
You're getting 8 by 19. So either you do it this way or better still, you do it this way. Fine. All these are going to come back later on. So try to, and although this is a simple problem, you may also feel that, okay, fine, if I am doing it the first way, why should I do it the second way? But actually, all these will you are going to use later on. That is why I'm showing you both the methods. Okay. For fourth and the last question, we'll stop here once we finish this. Okay. So fourth question is green or white or red. Find the probability that it is green or white or red. Now, what is green or white or red? Green is this, right? White is this, right? And red is this.
Yes, sir.
So green or white or red
Sir,
means
it is union.
C union D, right? So A union C union D is ball drawn is red. Let me write according to the order in the question. Green or white or red. Right? Therefore, required probability is equal to P A union C union D. How many green, white, and red balls? 3, 2, and 8. Divided by 19, which is equal to 13 by 19. Right? The same problem can be done in another way. What is the other way? Ball drawn is green or white or red. What is this event equal to? If the ball drawn is green, sorry, if the ball drawn is green or white or red, that means what is it? It is not green, definitely, right? Isn't it? That means we have,
Yes, sir.
if I say that the ball is drawn is either red or green or white, it is the same as saying the ball drawn is not blue, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Right. So if that means we have to find out the ball drawn is not blue. So let us define the what is the event B here. B is the event that the ball drawn is blue. So what is B bar event? Ball drawn is not blue, or the ball drawn is either green or white or red. Right. So then we just have to find out PB bar. So what is PB bar? Required probability is equal to probability of B bar. And what is the probability of B bar? 1 minus PB. And we know 1 minus, we know PB, right? PB, how much have we found out here? 6 by 19, which is equal to 13 by 19. That's your answer. So either you do it this way or you do it this way. I have shown you both ways again because these things are going to come back later on. Okay, so I'll stop here then.